The Challawa Gorge Dam was designed in 1992 with the potential for generating hydropower. However, the emergence of the Millennium Development Goals in 2000 with the ambition of eradicating extreme poverty introduced some initiatives that has affected and made positive changes in the lives of the people in Karaye local government area of Kano. In September 2001, the intended hydropower generating dam flooded its banks, resulting in the deaths of a number of people and destruction of farms and farmlands in Kano's Karaye local government area and some neighboring villages and communities. Recently, more lives have been claimed as a result of the dam spills. The MDG's office, in collaborations with other relevant stakeholders, came together to provide preventive erosion control measures at the Challawa Gorge Dam. In the effort to halt the destruction, funds provided by the MDG's office were used for the construction of a bridge to minimize the flow of the dam over its banks. The MDG's office provided over 700 million naira for the construction of the bridge and the introduction of a modern irrigation scheme. Today, people of Karaye are happy with the new development in their community.
Since it was built, my people have been benefiting very well through irrigation and fishing and the drinking water, and animals also benefit from the water that has been dumped there. Luckily enough, MDG came to our rescue, and we really appreciate that.
It has been very wonderful because just in this 2010 budget, we had about 200 hectares of irrigated land that is supposed to be constructed and is now under construction. And I will go around the place. In fact, without this reservoir, that could not be possible. And with the reservoir, without that, I think farmers cannot get benefit. So the intervention of MDG is highly at right time and is welcome.
People of Karaye are predominantly farmers who have witnessed the change that has taken place and understand that the things have changed for farmers in the area. 32-year-old Malam Lawan Isa has been farming in Karaye for the past 2 decades. The 20 years of his farming before MDGs came to their rescue was not very rewarding. Today, Malam Lawan says life has changed dramatically. He says he can now ride to his farm with no fear of dam spills. In the past years, going to the farm every other day could be a horrifying experience for Malam Lawan. He would ride on his bicycle to the farm in great fears of the killer flood. Today he rides to his farm with great confidence, knowing that the possibility of another flood is almost impossible. He feeds his family from the money he makes from the crops he sells. Since the Millennium Declaration in 2000, the Millennium Development Goals have become important tools for monitoring human development progress across nations. However, 10 years after the declaration, poverty still remains a threat to the well-being of many, particularly those living in the rural areas.
But let me just say one thing. What is much more important to all of this is the enabling environment to reduce poverty. And what government is doing now is to more strategically invest in the infrastructure. You know that the power reform has been reviewed. More importantly, the transportation has also been taken up, railways, the waterways, the road rehabilitation. This enables the economy to have access to different markets, and that, I believe, is going to make a considerable difference in terms of empowering the poor.
The UN goals are looking at 1990 and trying to say that we should halve the proportion of those in extreme poverty by 2015. In Nigeria, we have data for total poverty for 1992. Before then, we had data for 1980 and 1985. So if we use the 1992 number, which is about 42.7% to be precise, let's say about 43%. That is total poverty in Nigeria. So the question is, was that total poverty the equivalent of those in extreme poverty or not? So for the sake of moving forward with the program, I believe that the MDG office has adopted that number as representing the amount of extreme poverty that we experienced in Nigeria at that time, which means that we got to be able to cut the number in half to about 22–23% by 2015.
Through the MDG, we had what we call the war against poverty. This is strategically planned in order to make sure that we assist these young graduates who are going to serve the nation in nooks and crannies of this country.
Nigeria, Africa's most populous country, has abundant natural resources and human resources. In the first 4 years of the country's independence, these resources remained largely untapped. With a population estimated at about 140 million, Nigeria is the largest country in Africa and 1/6 of the black population in the black world. Currently, barely 40% of the country's arable land is under cultivation. The United Nations, in a recent report, placed Nigeria as the 13th poorest nation in the world, with about 60% of the population living on less than $1 a day. However, today, many Nigerians who depended on less than $1 a day are living a more comfortable life. Although farming has long been practiced in Nigeria in the past decades, today's farmers say farming has never been encouraged in the country like it is in recent times.